Do you play keys like this? Or more classically, like this? Today you'll learn ways to play modern worship songs to fit any style, classical, contemporary, or even somewhere in between. Make sure you stick around to the end to see how I put them all together into a cohesive worship set. I'm going to be putting together 3 songs for a set: Goodness of God, Yes and Amen, and Worthy of It All. Because I know I'm playing these all together for a set, I'm intentional about the sounds I'm choosing so that it sounds smooth from song to song, especially in terms of sounds. I typically like to use a very similar piano from song to song, and I like to include at least one pad that's the same, especially transitioning from one song into the next, so there aren't any jarring sonic changes. So starting with Goodness of God, here's how I might play the bridge if I was playing it like the recording in the key of G with our song-specific patch. If I was playing it more classically, it might sound like this. So here's how I like to go ahead and play this bridge with the patch that I created. So what I've done with this patch is, instead of just playing held chords during that bridge and having more sounds fill in, some synths, some organ, instead I've created a piano and pads patch where I'm free to play more with my right hand. And so I've created kind of this running line up high. And then I'm doing some octaves in my left hand to kind of combine the two together. And I've chosen a combination of some pads and some sound beds to just kind of create that space and that atmosphere, but I have kept them lower in the range so that the piano is more free to play more notes. I also like to add in the tempo as well as the key right in the patch name, and that way I always know exactly what tempo my song is. There's been so many times where I've been asked by a worship leader or someone else in the band, do you know what the original tempo is of the song? So I really like to just have that ready to go. I've also made this patch to be really flexible, so if I want to, I can go ahead and just add an octave up to the piano, and then it sounds like I'm playing octaves, even though I'm still just playing single notes. And another thing I can do is just bring the mod wheel all the way up if I want to bring in these warm pads and make them a little bit brighter. And in fact, I have programmed the snapshot to bring up the pads a little bit more as well. What's also great is that if I don't like how bright any of the sounds are getting, I can also adjust it. So say I don't want retro bell lead that I have in here with the piano to get as bright. All I have to do is just adjust this in the mod filter. So maybe I want it to sound the same even though the pads are getting brighter. So I can make that adjustment and now hear what it sounds like. So now that will sound the same, and it's just the pads that are getting brighter. My second song is Yes and Amen, and now it's in the key of D instead of in G. So if I was playing the chorus like the original recording by Jesus Culture, it might sound like this. It's mostly higher piano chords because the electric guitars play lead lines on the record. If I was playing it more classically, it might sound like this. So here's how I would play it with my patch instead. this patch, I've done a couple of things. The first thing that I did was to create a catchy lead. I wanted to be able to have something to add alongside the electric guitars other than just holding chords. So at first, I just doubled the piano with a synth lead. I just picked something that was really bright that I liked. And so I have that. And then I added in some other pads that I really like, some bright pads as well as some warm pads. And one thing that I really like to do is add in this octave up effect, so that way all of the pads are triggering an octave higher than they normally would. I also kept the warm choir pad in like I had for Goodness of God, so that way I have a bit of a similar warm pad sound through both patches. The other thing that I've added in this bigger chorus sound was I also added an arp that you can hear. So that's really fun. That adds some additional texture as well. So what I've created with the snapshots is I can start with more of a down chorus that might have the kind of plucky synth lead totally out. And then as the chorus builds and I'm playing throughout the song, then I can kind of move through the snapshots and have all of the pads increase in brightness and then add in that synth lead. My third song in my set is Worthy of It All, and we're now back in the key of G. If I was playing the bridge like the CC Winans version, it might sound like this. If I was playing it more classically, here's what it might sound like. So here's how I like to play it instead. For this patch in this song, I've created this piano line instead of playing along with the vocal melody. And what I really like is I can double it to octaves, or I can even play the riff twice as fast. So let me go ahead and show you what that might be like. Or I can just take it up the octave and play it faster. And then I can also increase all the sounds with the snapshots as well. So I've added in the second snapshot to make it bigger. And I've also brought in a big shimmer pad that comes in as well. If all my songs are in the same key, that makes the transitions all very easy. Even with moving from the key of G to D, that's pretty simple, but I still like to be thoughtful about when I do it in terms of moving to the next patch. Sometimes if we're doing a quiet outro out of a song, I'll wait until that's complete before moving to the new patch and new sounds. If there's a big ending on drums, then I let my sounds die out and then start in with the next sounds quickly so there's no sonic gap when the drums are fully faded out. Now, if I do have a big high energy song that doesn't have a good piano and a pad available to me, I have a couple options. My first option is to use a tonic pad and have that going underneath my patches and use the pad sound alone to transition. If I choose to power it on and then choose patch lock, it will automatically start when I press on the patch. Okay, so let's just pretend that I'm finishing playing That's Who I Praise, and then I'm going to transition into Goodness of God. So here I am playing my final chord. And then it just transitions nicely to the new key. And here I am. it's really nice and smooth, especially if I am planning out exactly how I'm gonna do it. I know with the band that I'm gonna finish that last song, and then I'm just gonna transition just with the pad and go ahead and play the next one. Okay, so this works great for a quick transition like that if it's planned. If, however, I know the timing isn't going to be exact, or I know that we might wanna do a quiet chorus at the end of that So I Praise, I would wanna have more than just a piano available to me. So to have this, I like to create an additional patch with similar sounds. So here I've got a piano and a sound bed and some warm pads to transition. So let me go ahead and show you. So then I could go ahead and play a quiet chorus and then on to the next song. I love the freedom and creativity you can take as a keys player when you're creating your sounds and deciding how you'd like to play a song. Different worship environments and leaders hold different expectations for keys players, but once you understand that, you can create something musical and meaningful within it. Whatever your musical background, you can start to replicate sounds and melodies you like and start to come up with your own too. Make sure to subscribe so you can come back for a new worship keys video next week.